Okay, in this one, I'm going to show you a wonderful example on pound yen. This is a 4-hour 60. But before I even get into it, I'm gonna point out a very big problem. And if I can solve this for you, because if you're having this problem, I want you to let me know in the comments below that yeah, you are experiencing a similar problem when it comes to, wait, what am I supposed to look at? Is it this time frame? Is it that time frame? I'm getting a little bit lost in this little cycle here. And now it's not like the lost that you used to be like early in the MPA. This is now lost because there's too much knowledge in your brain, right? So that is also another dilemma. There's one dilemma when you don't know anything, but then there's another dilemma when you know a little bit too much, right? So that causes a conflict of interest. It's like, wait, am I supposed to buy this? Am I supposed to sell it? So let's discuss that a little bit first. So in this particular case, this is a perfect example that gives you that dilemma. You're looking at this as, let's say you're doing a 4-hour 60 trade, right? So according to the 4 hours, you're like, oh, well, you know, this is buyer's territory because we're just looking at this area here like that. Like buyer's territory, pullback, we got to do a buy. But while you're doing that, you cannot help but look at this and be like, yeah, but that's a seller's territory. Okay? So I don't know if that buy is going to work. This is a normal logical way of thinking, and there's nothing wrong with that thinking. However, the problem where you come with this is the analysis goes incorrect. I'm going to explain that to you. Okay, so let's first do the traditional way of doing it, which is the normal way of doing it. You're looking at this as a buyer's market, and you can care less what all of this stuff did. And you're like, my job says buy, we buy, end of story. Why? Because not only do we have a first aggressive buyer, my second aggressive buyer is even much more aggressive, right? So we're like, game on, it's still a buy, okay? Especially if the pullback is struggling, then why not, okay? So once we have this information in mind, our job on the 4-hour is done. We now move towards the 60, okay? Territory is done. 60 is our time frame where we spend most of our time now, and now we're going to be looking at this pullback phase coming in. Okay. So here starts the pullback, very aggressive, you know, boom, drops down, okay, pulls back a bit, boom, drops down, tries to make a lower low, and then instantly goes right back up, okay, not just back up equally, but tries to go even higher, okay, and just a little rejection, not so big this time. So that's like, okay, well, could that be my V formation? Yeah, it's possible, but I'm a little bit afraid of how strong this down move came. What if that's going to cause me a problem? So I'm aware of, well, they might have some landmines working with them, which is somewhere here there might be a landmine, and then somewhere here there's a landmine, which is seller's territory and a normal SNR seller's territory. Two areas with a possible landmine. So we have to allow them to do their thing, which means if we do accept this as a V formation, we now work on the pinball area, the test area, to make sure we understand, well, what is happening. So we did all the research up until this point. We see the first move coming down aggressively. We don't like that. Pullback is even shallow. Next move coming down semi-aggressively, but then it goes up just as aggressive. But it's not even equal. It's lopsided. We're like, let's see what this really means. And we look down now on the 15 because we've done 95% of the work here. Now we're on the third time frame to say, well, show me what you got in the last minute area. Where's my mouse cursor? Where'd it go? Sorry, let me move back a little bit. Let me find my, there it is. Okay, here we are. Okay, you got your V formation. And then you got the same thing again with the landmine thing. Aggressive down move coming in. It looks aggressive on the 15, not so much on the 60. Remember, 15 is not our trading time frame. We're only here to watch the test, to watch the final pinball that always acts like it's in some kind of a range, right? So anytime you see a range, you can always look at it like a range is basically the final pinball stage in something of a higher picture. So whenever you see a range, you're like, maybe this means something on a higher time frame. Okay, so you can also get an understanding of which way the range is possibly going to break out, but that's more advanced topics. But you have an idea. I've just pointed you out in the right direction. and we can discuss this on another time. But so we see this range building up and we're like, whoa, landmine there, pushes the market down, aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. Landmine here, buyers push up also aggressive, almost equal aggressiveness, right? The sell looks multiple candles, buy look multiple candles. Good. We're not getting through this guy anytime soon. He pushes it back down. We got a lot more candles coming in. Slows down. Last few candles slows down, wicks and everything, followed by strong green. It's like, okay. Next move down, strong green. Okay. What about this landmine? Red bar, big tail on the bottom, recovers. So someone did push it down, but it recovered. Next green bar, fully green. Okay, closes up here. You're now in the clear. Telling you any trades you now activate, you're away from all these landmine headaches. You should be clear from them because they're not performing as well. Okay, so as you do your buys from here, taking it all the way up to your recent next support equals resistance, or your next landmine, which is right there as your exit, okay, you have a smooth ride all the way to the top with a possibility to put your stop loss just below here instead of the typical put your stop loss below, just below your V formation, because it's a lopsided and this much should be enough. Okay, that's the simplistic way. When you're trading part-time, you're trading full-time, you're able to put your stops there. And this one still ends up being a 1:1, but if you had your stops down here, you're no longer looking at 1:1, you're looking at possibly 0.8:1, which is still fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's 80% gain on a single trade that you're doing. Okay, so this is one scenario, right? Now, in the beginning I mentioned about something about a problem that everyone does. If you did not look at this straightforward and saying, my 4 hours says buyer's territory, I do this like a buy, you come into a problem when you look at this. I'm going to put this back. When you look at this based on the 4 hour and 60, where are we? Here we are. Move this to the same spot too. There we are. You're looking at it like, yeah, but it's in a downtrend. What's going to happen is, even if you look at it based on the 60, because this is what happens to most people. They'll do their research based on the 4 hour 60, but looking at some kind of aggression and stuff like this here, they will come to a conclusion of, you know what, it's not going to go for a buy because it can't. Because look at the 4 hour is in a downtrend. This thing's going to go down. Watch. And the thing is, it does go down later, doesn't it? But the problem is, if we're focusing on a down from the 4 hours, then you must read the market only on the 4 hours and not the 60. Right? If I eliminate the 60 completely and I read it on the 4 hours, then this information goes missing. This was the first move up. Here's an aggressive second move up. I don't see any kind of a slowdown, so why should I activate any sells right now? It's too amateur. It's too soon, which means let the next move go up. Still aggressive, but no higher high. Is that my V formation? No, it got rejected. That's not it either. Then the next move goes up, no higher high again. Now that's a good sign because it looks choppy. Followed by a lopsided V formation. Now we're talking. This looks a lot better, right? That's a 4 hour style trading. That's basically a daily 4 hour, right? Overall downtrend, and then here's a pullback coming in. You want to not mix up your knowledge because you know the direction, and even though you see the direction going your way, it can bite you in the butt saying that, watch out, man. Don't mix it up. You have to let the 60 do its play, finish its play, then it's the 4 hours turn because they're a lot slower. Okay, so like I said, if this is a problem that you've encountered, mention in the comments below that you've gone through the same thing before and you now know how to fix it, because I want to know how many others have this problem. I had this problem for the longest time. I still have this problem sometimes. If you're in the elite community, if you look at some of my recent Euro USD trades, 2 trades I picked up, both of them losses, and both of them went exactly how I predicted it. But it doesn't matter if it's a loss, right? So this is a situation because a higher time frame kicks in and you're sitting there scratching your head. You're like, I know better and to not mess with my big boy. But understanding that your big boy is not going to mess with you anytime soon is in skill in itself. So you have to build on that skill and work on it. Okay? The simplistic approach is always put a wider stop loss. You should be fine no matter what. But as traders, you want to be better every single day and work on that rhythm. So you can take this from part-time to full-time. Okay? So I hope these examples were useful and you understand the little the pinballs that happen towards the end in the test phase. And that pinball or that range is critical to see how a landmines will react accordingly to that area. Okay, so keep those things in mind, and I will see you guys next week for an idea of working with spikes. How do I know in my last pinball stage if I'm gonna get a fake spike coming out of it, or is the market actually changing directions? So we're gonna be discussing that next week. Hope this was useful. I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.